بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله رب يسر ولا تعسر اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه والتابعين وارحم يا رب النحاة والصرفيين وبعد. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Welcome to lesson 3. So one of the points we realize in Arabic grammar when we study, and for those of you who have studied Arabic grammar before, you will know that a verb requires a doer. A verb requires someone who does it. An action requires someone who does it. In Arabic grammar, this doer is called a fa'il. And in Arabic grammar, we study that the doer must come after the verb. Can never become before, never before. So we have the fi'l or the verb darasa, and we have the word zayd after it. Now, for those of you who know that the doer must be in the grammatical state called rafa'. For those of you who have not studied grammar, don't worry. We can just say that the doer needs to have dhamma or dhammatain, or a letter that's equivalent to a dhamma or dhammatain. So the doer here, zaydun. Okay. So darasa zaydun means Zayd did the action of studying in the past. Darasa zaydun. Zayd studied. Okay. If we were talking in the past tense, we put the verb on the pattern of fa'ala, and then we bring the doer after it. Now, what if there's no doer mentioned in the sentence? If we just see a verb, for example, nasara. Okay. إذا جاء نصر الله والفتح. When the help of Allah comes. So nasara, to aid, to help, to grant victory. So nasara, on the pattern of fa'ala. What do we do if we do not see an apparent word after it, a noun after it? That could be the doer. Well, what we do is we translate he in the translation. So nasara, he helped, or he aided, or he granted victory. Dhahaba, he went. And of course, we know to translate he because of the pattern of fa'ala, and we know this pattern is the pattern for the third person masculine singular in the past. Now, the Arabic grammarians say that because every verb needs a doer, a noun that does it, they say that inside the word nasara, there is the pronoun huwa hiding. And that is the doer. That is the doer. So a doer can sometimes be inside a word if it is not after it or outside of it. And the same with dhahaba, we say there's huwa hiding inside. Huwa dhahaba or dhahaba huwa. Okay. In Arabic, if you say nasara by itself, it means he helped. You don't need to say huwa nasara or nasara huwa. But you can say nasara huwa for emphasis purposes. Okay, for the purpose of emphasis, but it is not necessary. Now, in the previous examples, the doer has been male, okay? And we said the pattern of fa'ala is for the masculine third person in the past. The singular masculine third person in the past. What if the doer is female? Now, for the past tense, particularly for the past tense, the Arabs add a ta with a sukoon on it to the end of the verb to show that the doer is female. It's a sign to show the doer is female. So the feminine third person singular will be fa'ala plus the ta with the sukoon at the end. So it will be on the pattern of fa'alat, fa'alat, fa'alat. So we have the sentence here, ذهبت فاطمة. ذهبت فاطمة. Fatima is clearly the doer. Okay. And thus we can translate this as Fatima went. خرجت خديجة. خرج, the root letters kha, ra, and jim, related to exiting or going out. Okay, khuruj, to leave, to exit. Makhraj in Arabic, if you see a building in Arabic, you see the word makhraj, which means exit. Okay, like an emergency exit. So kharajat khadijatu. Okay, kharajat, she means left, she left. So Khadija left, or Khadija exited. Now, for those of you who've studied grammar before, and it's not a necessary requirement of this course to know this or to understand this even, but for those of you who have studied, you will know that female names do not accept tanween. They do not accept two harakas. Yeah, they don't. You can't say ذهبت فاطمة خرجت خديجة. No, they will only have one dhamma. Okay, and the reason for that is they belong to a category of words called غير منصرف words. Okay, and these are mainly names and certain adjectives with certain special features that we will study, or you will study inshallah in the future when you study Arabic grammar or the science of Nahr. And غير منصرف words cannot accept tanween, and they cannot accept a kasra. Instead, they accept a fatha instead of a kasra. Okay. Now, again, what if we have no Fatima or no Zainab or no Khadija after the verb? We have no obvious doer. We have no apparent doer in the sentence. We just have the word darasat, okay, on the pattern of fa'alat. We just have the verb. So what do we do? So we know fa'alat is the pattern for the singular feminine in the past. So we will translate it as she, okay, da rasin, to do the studying. So we say she studied. She studied. And just like we said in the past, that the grammarian said, we need to have a noun. We need to have some word that is the doer. So we assume there is the pronoun here, which is the female pronoun, she, hiding inside the word. Here is hiding inside. Darasat, okay. Here darasat. Darasat here. Darasat means she studied. We do not need to say again, here darasat or darasat here, but we can do that for emphasis purposes. But it is sufficient to say darasat, she studied. Now, if you look at the sentence here, we have two words, akalat and at-ta'ama. Now, firstly, a point on pronunciation. How do we read this in Arabic? Okay, we have Hamzatul Wasl over here, which is the one that drops, so is not pronounced. We know that ta is a sun letter, therefore the lam is not even pronounced. So that's why we say at-ta'am, we don't say al-ta'am. Okay, like ash-shams, you don't say al-shams, for those of you who know. And there are certain aspects of sciences of tajweed that are needed to read proper Arabic, like the sun and the moon letters, for example. So those rules are not insignificant. So you have akalat and then at-ta'am. Now, the way to read this in Arabic is أكلت الطعام. We have to give this ta with a sukoon on it that originally had a sukoon on it, but when we read it now, we have to give it a kasra. Why? Okay. Why do we do this? The reason we do this is because in Arabic, you are not allowed to have two sukoons. Two sukoons together. This is a sukoon. Two sukoons cannot come together next to each other. You may ask, where is the second sukoon? Here's the first sukoon. The second sukoon, as we said, the hamza is not pronounced, hamzatul wasl of the alif lam. Everyone calls it alif lam, but really it's hamza, hamzatul wasl and lam. Okay. The lam is not even pronounced as well, so we forget that. So that doesn't exist. These two do not exist in pronunciation, so we don't need to worry. Now the ta has a shadda, at-ta'am. Now, a letter with a shadda is actually two letters in Arabic. And we will study this again in the future. A letter with a shadda is actually two letters. It's doubling of the letter. It's a doubling of the letter. The first has a sukoon, and the second has the haraka that is written on it. So, at-ta'ama with a fatha and a shadda is actually two ta's. The first ta with a sukoon, and the second ta with a fatha. So, if you notice then, directly after this sukoon is another sukoon, which is the first ta of the shadda ta. So we have a sukoon preceded by sukoon. And in Arabic, we're not allowed to have two sukoons together. Okay. Now, what do we do? The rule is, in Arabic pronunciation, the normal rule is that you give the first sukoon a kasra. Okay. الساكن إذا حرك بالكسر. This is what they say. A letter with a sukoon, if you need to give a haraka, it's given a kasra for pronunciation purposes. Okay. That doesn't change the fact that it originally had a sukoon. Now, sometimes there are certain words that are given a fatha instead, and there are certain words in which we do other things, but the standard rule is to give it a kasra. So we say أكلت الطعام. Okay, that's the point of pronunciation only. That doesn't change the fact that it is originally with a sukoon, okay, which is the feminine singular past tense form. Now we do have then a word after أكلت, الطعام. So we have a verb and we have a noun after it. But is this noun suitable to be the doer? I may ask. The answer is no. The answer is no. For two reasons. Firstly, based on the meaning, food cannot really do the action of eating. Okay. Food doesn't do the action of eating. Food receives the action of eating. Food is eaten. Okay. And obviously, also for a grammatical reason, for you who've studied grammar before, you know that the fa'il must have a dhamma or be in the state called the rafa' state, which is not important for you to know for this course, but it needs to have a dhamma or something equivalent to a dhamma or dhammatain. Here we have a fatha. And the fatha in Arabic signifies that the noun is the object of a verb. An object of a verb means the one receiving the action, the one upon, okay, which the action occurs. And that's in Arabic grammar is called maf'ulun bihi. Maf'ulun bihi. Okay, the object of a verb. And that is generally shown by a fatha. So the object of a verb is not suitable to be the doer, cannot be the doer. So how would we translate أكلت الطعام? أكلت الطعام. We would translate this. Again, we can find no candidate to be the doer of this verb, and we need a doer. So we will add she to the translation. She ate. أكلت, okay, أكل from أكل in the past. She ate the food. And again, we will say, as the Arabic grammarians say, there's here inside. Okay, that is where we got she from. أكلت الطعام. She ate the food. Okay. And lastly, we will finish off with some exercises. How would we say, for example, he ain't, given the root letters, Hamza, Kaf, and Lam? So we would simply put it on which pattern? The pattern of fa'ala. So, ka, la, he ate. How would we say she went? Sorry, she went. We would simply say, putting it on the pattern of fa'alat, the, ha, but. Okay. How do we say Zayd hit? So we start with the verb. In Arabic, verbs come first in a normal sentence. Okay. In English, verbs don't come first. In Arabic, a sentence, if we have a verb in the sentence, it does come first in Arabic. That is the general rule. Okay. Verbs are first. So, daraba, because Zayd is masculine, and we're saying in the third person, in the past tense, singular masculine in the past tense. So daraba, then we put the doer after it, Zaydun. Daraba Zaydun. Daraba Zaydun. Zayd hit. Zayd hit. Okay. If you wanted to say Fatima hit, we would do the exact same, apart from we must use the feminine form. Darabat Fatimatu. Fatima hit. And that's it for today. جزاكم الله خيرا. أشكركم لحسن استماعكم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.